Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our special edition Guns in the 7-1. We're going to get started right away here with the Second Amendment, as we do each and every time we go live. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And we have a special guest on tonight. And before I introduce him, I want you guys to hear it from his video right away, exactly what's going on here. So with more ado, here we go.
Hello, North Dakota. I'm Alex Balazs from Kandu, North Dakota, running for U.S. Congress because I'm frustrated with the mess in Washington. First, let me give you a quick background on myself. My family and I live on my grandfather's farm that he homesteaded in the 19th century. I served in the Air Force, Navy, Army, and in the U.S. State Department, where I defended America's interests around the globe. I've worked with U.S. ambassadors and foreign allies to rout out extremists and eradicate drug cartels. And while I've done this work overseas, I'm extremely frustrated about bad actors, extremist groups, and drug cartels invading our country on the southern border. Enough is enough. My name is Alex Balazs, and I'm not done serving our country. It's time for me to roll up my sleeves once again and protect our constitutional republic by advancing our conservative principles in Congress and stop the crisis at the border now. I invite you to join our mission by signing up on alexfornorthdakota.com and get involved. Let's go.
All right. So why don't you give our introduction, Jamie? I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, you got the nice video going on there, Alex. And first thing I'd like to say is I appreciate you recognizing we are a constitutional republic. I mean, we got a lot of people that call this a democracy. America's not a democracy, so I appreciate that right off the bat from you. So, and thanks again for coming on. I watched Alex do the debate there on AM 1100 with Scott Hennon, and he had Julie Fedorchak on there, and Rick Becker, and then I heard you again on 550 here with Todd and Mike Bell. Called Alex up. He was more than happy to come on with us, which I appreciate that, Alex. Very personable, very easy to talk to. You're a very personable guy. So thank you for coming on here. And if anybody's just tuning in, we're going to keep this. We are going to go Second Amendment specific because we are guns on the 7-1, but we also are the 701. And Alex, you're the North Dakota GOP endorsed candidate for the United States House, right? And so, why don't you? How'd the vote go down there, anyways, Alex?
It was a crazy couple of days. We'd gone through 2 days there, and pretty much, my first convention. So getting used to that, I hadn't seen that before, and not being a politician. So that was interesting. But the people really are excited to be there. I mean, those are people that come and stay the whole way through. So you got to have your hats off to all the delegates and chairs. I mean, they really get involved. It's what America ought to be. And then we got down to the vote, and it got a little bit touch and go there. And then we just pulled ahead by, I think, in 6 or 7 votes, and Julie stepped down. And I got to tell you, a win's a win, so I'll take it.
That's right. Yep, that W, it doesn't much matter. It's just still a W, isn't it?
That's man. Hey, I'm a big football fan, and I don't care. You keep winning ugly is still a W in the column. It doesn't matter. Yeah. So I got to tell you, I didn't hear you either when I heard you on. I was like, so who's Alex Balazs? Alex. Did you before we get into some gun stuff? Let's just get a little background. You grew up in Kandu then, Alex, or where did you?
No, I actually grew up in Wisconsin before I went to the military at 18. My mom was one of 7 kids. She's the only girl, and then she was born here in this house that you're seeing behind me here in 1926. My grandfather had homesteaded earlier and lived in a very small shack. It's still on the property where the other boys were born, and then built this house. My mom was born here, and then about 1939 or 1940, I think she said she was hungry. The story she tells, and she walked off the farm at 14 and went to the West Coast, and then eventually ran into my dad. Met my dad, who was a Hungarian, Balazs, and they got married and ended up in Wisconsin. Well, my father was just loved the farm. Obviously, brought my mom back here. That's where she grew up. Loved my grandfather and all the uncles and stuff. So we would end up spending the summers here, and then of course we had a good connection to the farm. And then I went in the military. My uncle Pete, who was in World War II as Coast Guard and Merchant Marine, and later got his captain's papers. He was at the farm then after my grandfather passed, and we knew him and came up and shot with him and stuff. And when he kind of walked off and got lost a little, in Devil's Lake, and the sheriff picked him up, and he had to go to the home. At that point, Cindy and I purchased the farm. I was forward. in Pakistan, Afghanistan, and she was in Europe where she was waiting and working, and she bid on it in auction. Called me and said we got it, and then we started fixing it in 2015. I retired here, or we retired here. We chose North Dakota because we just love it.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
You got me now, Clay. Clay said he couldn't hear me.
I do. We got you now. Hey, Leon's listening from over on the Rumble. He says he loves the 2A701 swag, brother.
Right here. Yep, right here. Got him going. All right. So yeah, that's awesome, man. So you like living back out on the farm now there? I mean, you're retired now, right, Alex? Other than you just want to everything's not politics are looking not good, so you decided to get into it here.
Absolutely. We're retired out here. We're very blessed. We love it out here. I will say that the last 2 winters I did feel those. They were pretty hard,
yeah. You moved back when a big one came there the first winter there, man. Yeah, that was record actually.
Last winter was the never-ending winter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We looked at each other a couple of times and said, "Really?" But yeah, we love it out here. It's great, and the kids come in the summer, and it's just a great place to be. All of the people up here are great. And we like being out a little bit far away from people, and it's nice. Hunting, we get a lot of chances to hunt up here, and it's just it's kind of a good, quiet way to live. Sometimes I do a little bit of work when I need to, but right now we were sitting up here at the farm, and in February, not knowing the political process, we just jumped in, and I said, "That's it, enough's enough. I need to run for this."
So do you think that I come from a different state too? I come from South Dakota. I've lived on the border my whole life, and been involved a lot. Did you find this process very unique in North Dakota as I did when I first got involved?
I did. I really did. I called up, and there's a joke going. I called up to the party there in Bismarck and said, "Hey, listen, I'm going to run for this congressional seat. What do I need to do?" I think there was about a 30-second pause, and they said the same thing. A lot of people said, "Who are you?" And you're late, and you're supposed to start. And I said, "Well, there's nothing says you got to start on that day." So we filed our papers and went around, got signatures, and clearly I wanted to go to the convention and wanted to get the endorsement. So we were on both tracks because I just didn't know if I would get there. I mean, that was a lot of money and a lot of cost, and I was brand new to it,
Yeah, the endorsement thing's quite a different thing in North Dakota versus a lot of states. Where I come from, you go to the primary. We had the state convention, but it didn't endorse the candidate necessarily. The primary was who chose it.
Right.
But there's registration down there, which we could go down that path, but we're gonna stay on the federal level, being that's what you are running for.
So hey, if anybody's listening, hey, Alex, right there, people don't think you can get into politics and do anything or get anywhere. You got in there and you just went and talked to people, did the footwork, got in there, and here you are as the North Dakota GO here. Yeah, got a comment right here. Great guest, loving this show. Listen up, people.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was very interesting. We took our first drive out, I think, to Watford City to one of the gun shows, and it just reinforced what I knew. I mean, people were fantastic. We talked to them. They said, "What are you doing? We're running for this," and that's what they wanted to hear. They didn't care about the process or all the other stuff. They just wanted to know what your thoughts were and if you were going to represent them.
Yeah. Well, hey, Leon's over on Rumble, and he says, "Hey, he pulled up in his dirty truck. He had my vote from there." So there you go.
It was
awesome. He also says
it off once. I want to say for the record.
He also said, "Just say no to the Barbie bros." Amen to that, Leon. I know exactly what you're talking about. So, all right. Well, I'm going to start off.
Yeah, hit it, Clayton. Let's get into some.
And I ask this of every candidate, Alex. So I mean, like I said, I'm not going to do any gotcha stuff here. I don't believe in doing that, and I want real answers. So, and I ask every single candidate this: what is the intent of the Second Amendment?
Well, I feel the intent of the Second Amendment is not about hunting or what we use our weapons for. I think the intent of the Second Amendment is to keep this nation free. It's an inviolate right that we have. And sure, I hunt all the time. I mean, that's obvious because I want to eat. But that was designed to keep this nation free and so that people could own them and not be infringed. Whatever they want to have. I don't
absolutely.
I've heard these conversations about, oh, you don't need this gun, you don't need that gun. Look, you use whatever you want to use. You want to hunt deer with an AR? I don't care what that is. I mean, I personally wouldn't because I'm probably not that good of a long-range shot with an AR. But yeah, I just don't think we should have anybody stepping on those rights ever. And I will, I'll stand up for those. I'll stand in front of you on those rights all day long.
Amen to that. And that's, I can tell you, I used to work for the National Rifle Association. I retired in 2016, so
Okay.
as a senior field rep, and I would always ask people that, not just politicians, but anybody. I'd do it at my banquets when I was speaking. You can't believe how many people don't understand what the real, true intent is of the Second Amendment, and they put it in there because they just came off of a Revolutionary War,
Yeah.
and they wanted to make darn
Yeah, they
sure.
fought all the deer, Clay.
Yeah, they fought all the deer.
Whitetails lost.
With their fully automatic, whatever. Yeah. Anyway, but I really love that answer because I'm telling you, very few guys actually say that, and I appreciate that because that is the
Yeah.
intent.
Yes, sir.
That
So
is
Alex,
the
if you're elected, not only I know obviously you're going to defend the Second Amendment, but what I'm looking for is somebody who not only would defend it but actually promote our Second Amendment rights. Are you down with that too?
Yes, absolutely. I think we need to be out front with this because if we're not, then they start nibbling around the edges and they try to put through little things. So you've got to be constantly pushing forward on it, constantly defending it, constantly advancing it so that there's a lot of stuff coming out. I mean, you can just go into all the different things on weapons, but there's no reason for that to be limited. We are not the criminals here owning guns. We're just citizens who decide to own a tool. I consider guns tools. They do a certain use for us. I teach the kids, my grandkids, and my daughter, and my wife feels the same way. It's no different than a skill saw in the barn. And I'll tell you, if you took a pistol and a skill saw and put them on your thigh and pulled the trigger on both of them, the skill saw is going to do a lot more damage than a pistol.
Yeah. And guess what? Using skill saws is fun, right? Just like shooting a gun is fun. Using I'd definitely rather use a power drill than I would a hand screwdriver. I can guarantee you that.
So I got to throw this comment. See, I can't put up the Rumble comments. I haven't figured out how to do it, but I can sure read them. So Leon says ARs are for tyranny, AKs are for the zombie deer apocalypse. So.
There you go. Okay, that's right. There you go. Yeah.
I thought I had to put that.
Unless you're Joe Biden and you say things like an AK-16, which I'm not sure who reps that guy, but if you can't get it,
yeah,
that's right. That's right. And I do want to say I had uncles in the war, but none of them were eaten by cannibals. Okay, so
I heard that too. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Oh, that guy.
So yeah, I'm not sure if you own a suppressor, Alex. I own multiple suppressors. Clayton does most of us. I mean, what are your thoughts on suppressors? And that can kind of lead into what Clay was talking about, like the NFA, getting rid of the NFA and all that. I just got mine, and I did get it back. It is way faster now. Electronically, I got it back in 2 or 3 days. But I mean, for every item on there, every suppressor, they want you to pay another extra $200 for a tax stamp. I mean, and for short barrel rifles or something. I mean, are you down with getting rid of that kind of crap?
Yeah, all those things are just taxes. They call them fees, but they're just taxes on us, and they don't get to do that to us. So yes, I've used suppressed weapons because we had to carry them sometimes. I don't own any just because I'm kind of a utility hunter, and my wife hasn't given me my allowance for that yet. Can I say that? I would love to, but I think they're very functional. They serve a definite purpose as a tool on certain weapons. And I disagree with the whole idea that you got to pay extra for it and they got to be controlled and you can go do something with it. Yeah, you might shoot a coyote at night with it. There's nothing wrong with that. So I don't think those have any place with us.
Well, when you look at the NFA when it's passed in 1934, the idea was after St. Valentine's Day murder. As we all know, that's really what drove that. There was no.
Those guys follow the law, right?
There you go.
Those guys love law and order.
And they thought that would make it better. And they set it at $200 then, a tax stamp, because guess what? $200 in 1934 was a really, really high price. And the intent was to tax you and keep you from exercising your Second Amendment right. Yep. And it did that. $200 ain't much now, and now it's just a joke. Yeah, I'm with you. We need to repeal the NFA. And suppressors are a tool, nothing more, nothing less, and they're great for your hearing protection. I probably will never hunt without one again since I purchased mine.
$200 is a lot more under Joe Biden than it was under.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is now.
Yeah, and as far as hunting suppressed, shooting suppressed. I mean, my girls, they don't even want to shoot guns without a suppressor on them anymore, or my friends are around them, and people have been around them, and you haven't shot. They're obviously not silent, but it is so much. It's hearing friendly. I have a permanent ring in my ear from one of my buddies knocking off his 300 Win Mag with a ported barrel years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they take up a bunch of recoil. You can shoot something that has more recoil, and again, we talked about before the show here, looking good. Suppressors look cool on guns. I like that look.
They do. And I will admit I have a little bit of hearing loss and some from being too close to weapons going off that were not suppressed. And now at the farm, all the kids have their own special pelters to wear, and they all wear doubles. And so, we were very careful about it. But you're right. It is a joy to shoot around suppressed weapons.
Oh, it is. It's awesome. It is awesome.
So I did have a question come in. I didn't think it was a bad question. That this is when I put it out there that you were going to be on. And the one question that stood out I thought was interesting, because most people don't even know about it, but would you be interested in being part of the Freedom Caucus once you get to the House of Representatives?
It's a great question. I got asked that on a radio show about 2 weeks ago. And
okay.
Yeah, I think what I'd like the Freedom Caucus is to join me, because, and let me tell you why. As a sole congressional representative in Washington, I think I got the largest constituency of all congressmen. It's like 700,000 people. So why shouldn't they step over to me? And I do support some of the stuff they're talking about, and we do need that caucus. But I'm not going to wholesale step in and be like, okay, I'm going to go over there and everything I'm going to do. And there's two reasons why. One is we need to be our own people when we're representing North Dakota, because I'm going there for the people. So I can't just go there and agree to do what everybody else is going to do in a certain caucus, whatever that caucus is. And the other piece is I've never telegraphed anything in a fight before. So I'm not going to telegraph a no or a hardline position or a softline position when I want to win the battle. There's simply no
good point.
It's like a foregone conclusion. Then they're going to look over and say, "Oh, well, that one congressman from North Dakota. Well, hell, we know which way he's going." So I don't want to lose that battle. I'm not going to go along.
Fair enough.
So
yeah, and like I said, I thought it was a fair question, so I thought I'd throw that one out there. But I like a lot of things the Freedom Caucus does.
Yes,
I can tell you personally, I think that this. Like you said, you represent the people of, you'll be North Dakota if you win. And I think you've got to represent your states first and the people that elected you. Now, the Freedom Caucus is a great idea, and they can move a lot of things one way or the other. But, yeah, I don't think you need to be stepping toe either. I'm with you on that.
Yep.
So, when Trump first got elected, he wanted national reciprocity, and they wanted to bring this bill up, Alex, to have national. And, of course, Paul Ryan, he wouldn't even let that come up for a vote.
Or McConnell.
And McConnell pretty much said if it comes to the Senate, we're not. I mean, if that comes up and you're elected in the House and we get a national reciprocity and President Trump gets reelected, are you on board with having a national concealed carry weapon reciprocity?
Yeah, yes, it falls in line with our rights. I mean, all the rest of the rights they put on top of that are just another limitation to say, to limit our ability to carry or to use our weapon or whatever. And that's not where criminality comes from, by the way.
That's right.
They make that myth up. That's just properly carrying, making sure that you're there in case there's a crime or whatever reason you're carrying for. But I think it's another effort of just control. I don't know if that's want to call it deep state or whatever.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean it is
definitely control. Yep. Yeah. When I look at concealed carry, I used to catch a lot of grief on this myself because I was advocating for concealed carry. Remember, that's before we even had it. It took a long time to get that in most of the states. But we knew it would be the step to constitutional carry, which we should have never lost anyway.
Yes.
Well, Clay and I were in committee meetings. I mean, testifying
for us. I was up at the state legislature a lot in North Dakota and South Dakota, especially working on those. And constitutional carry is how it should have always been, because it wasn't passing constitutional carry, it was restoring it. We never lost it.
Right.
Everybody just took it and we didn't do anything about it. So yeah, I think you probably are following that same belief, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
All right, Clay, we're about 8:20. Why don't we hit our first sponsorship break here? And then there's a couple questions here in the comments we'll get to. Okay. One of them definitely firearm related. The other one, not so much. Maybe we'll save that one for later in the show or not, whatever you want to do here. Mm-hmm. But let's hit that first commercial break, Clayton, and we'll be right back. Mm-hmm.
Lauer Auto Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Give them a call at 701-258-6308.
The team of mechanics at Lauer Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with Lauer, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck, Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake. Lauer Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at Lauer Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308.
701-258-6308.
Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Discover the world of firearms at Bismarck's Double H Gun Shop. With a wide range of products from handguns to rifles, we cater to all your shooting needs. We are your local gun experts. Not only do we sell firearms, reloading supplies, targets, and whatever your heart desires, but we also have a ton of knowledge and answers.
We shoot, we hunt, we compete, we reload.
It's been the Howard's way since 1976, and we ain't fixing to change anything. Visit our website at hhgunshop.com to browse our inventory. Double H Gun Shop, Bismarck's best new and used firearm reloading supply, gunsmithing, and sporting goods store. Double H Guns.
Double H Guns.
1021 South Washington Street, Bismarck, North Dakota. Call 701-223-4888.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
All right, welcome back, everybody. And as you've seen, we brought on a brand new sponsors with us in Bloodline, Kinetics, and we want to thank Jacob. He makes some great firearms, does a lot of, as you can see, a lot of great work, and we'll be doing a little more with that. But right now, we'll get back to the show, and we got questions pouring in, so that's good.
Great.
Oh, do we got you, Jamie?
Man, you know what? I got to quit hitting this mute button on you guys, right? I did that with Scott and Jesse. Sorry, guys.
I'm going to throw you this one because it kind of goes right into basically what we were talking about. So Michael Deacons asks, he goes, is a civil firearm ownership a positive right, a negative right, or an obligation according to the intention of the founding fathers? That's a great question, really.
Yes, I haven't thought of it in that terminology before, but I'll tell you, let's talk about an obligation. I think we all have an obligation to serve and defend. I don't know, though, that everybody, that it's an obligation that everybody in this nation should own a gun or have a gun. And let me just explain a little bit about that. They certainly can. That's a right. They can do that. But I saw when we went different places and went overseas that not everybody was cut out to be in battle or to engage like that. I know that sounds. I'm not disparaging folks.
No, it's just truthful. You're absolutely right. That's just being truthful.
So maybe I'd like to see everybody, own guns, and I'd like them to be able to defend themselves and have whatever that defensive weapon was for them, or shotgun if they weren't going to hunt, or whatever that deal was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, I don't know if everybody's ready for that educationally, and I don't know if they live in a place where they can secure it. So yeah, that's a tough one. I do think it's an obligation to pick up a weapon and defend this country if you're faced with people coming across that border or whatever's happening. Is it a positive right? I mean, I see it as a positive thing that we should be all owning guns. I mean, I look at people who don't have weapons and I don't really understand why they don't. And then I have some friends who look at me and say, so why do you have a gun behind the door? I said, well, I mean, first of all, it's for that rabid raccoon that I'm still waiting for to pop his head out from the barn. And he's doing it day now. So, and hopefully there's a skunk in the other shed, and I hope I get him before the dog meets him. So, yeah. So I just think that it's a normal thing. It's surprising when I don't see that. It's also a good deterrent. The idea that you might knock on a door or come to a house and they might just have a gun. I mean, I think that makes us better. I think these no gun zones, and I'm not going to get in each separate one, but every time they do these, it's just a free fire zone for the bad guys.
Well, and we call them a gun-free zone is nothing but a soft target. It truly is. I think all of our schools, anywhere. In fact, we'll get. You know why I wasn't at the state convention like I usually am as a delegate? I was not going to comply with what they were making us do to get into the facility. I'm not going to be part of a soft target area, and that's what that was. We didn't have that in Bismarck. We were able to carry in there, and we weren't in Fargo, which didn't surprise me. But I am not going to comply to stuff like that. I'm kind of done with that. If you're infringing on my rights, I'm done with it, and I'm taking that hard line. And I don't believe in soft targets. And you hit it right on the head. If you don't have a gun, you just made yourself a target.
Yeah, you brought up a good point. I went over and talked to a lot of people. Brought that up, that it was a soft target over the convention. I was hoping that good actors were going to be the only people we saw, but I did go over and talk to the sheriffs and the police when I first got there, just to make sure that they, I knew where they were and they knew who I was. So I just wanted to make sure that since they were sheriffs.
Good idea.
Good idea.
So
and I looked at it. Oh, sorry, Jamie. Yeah, but I follow up on that. And when I started raising heck about it when I first heard about where we were going to be. I'm part of District 31 over here, and I'm in Sioux County, which is I'm way over here, over west on the South Dakota border side, or on the border itself. But I basically brought up the fact what they were talking about, and right away I got hit with North Dakota's Century Code that it's a public gathering. Well, I can tell you right now, public gatherings and paid conventions are different.
Yes.
It does not qualify. I've been told that by many lawyers. I went through this when we were running the NRA events because I basically had, and I ain't going to say where it was, but you can about imagine which city it was. And they were going to come in and basically try to arrest some of us because we were carrying at a gathering. And of course, I know the law, and I had NRA's backing on this. I explained to them it was not a public gathering. You had to pay a ticket to get into this particular event. And public was invited to it, but it was not a public gathering. And we were able to basically stand our ground on that, and they went away. And that's what I was trying to get forth to these guys, but they wouldn't fight it. It really torqued me off when part of our own party platform is the Second Amendment and the right of the people to keep and bear arms and not be infringed on. And I thought that was just a horrible, horrible oversight and a horrible, I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's oversight that they didn't check this out before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of feels one of those other situations where they kind of reach too far to begin with and start imposing rather than just work through the law as it exists.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm guessing I know the answer to this one, but I gotta ask you anyways. Since my wife's a teacher and I know all kinds of teachers, what are your thoughts on not forcing teachers to be armed, but letting whatever teacher or staff wants to be armed and trained to carry a firearm in our public schools? Because we've had no gun zones in the schools since Clay, 93, 94, and that's proven obviously by
Ben Clinton,
all the dead people. that's a miserable failure.
Yes.
And I think that should actually, Alex, if the federal government, if they want to fund something, it's to train teachers to defend our, my daughters are in school. If somebody comes in there, I want some scumbag who's in there to hurt people, teacher, staff, my students, or my daughters and their friends. I want that person put down ASAP. I mean, so what's your belief on that?
Yeah, I agree with that, and let me tell you why I agree with that. Number one is if people want to be able to defend and take care of themselves, and they get trained, they should be able to carry that weapon. There's all this myth surrounding that teachers don't want to do that, and they're all this garbage they talk on. There may be some that don't, but if you think about the fact that if even a few carried, and there's a lot of the last gun show I was at, there was more ladies carrying guns out the door than there were men. So
biggest growing segment of firearms right now today.
Yeah,
it has been for the last 15 years.
So I think where this becomes mythical, or they start making up stories about it, is the training issue. You can train people to do this, and obviously people trained all the time in law enforcement, and the cost isn't that great. So that's an argument I don't agree with. The other piece is you would probably get the idea then that every school isn't a soft target because they don't know who's carrying a weapon. And you have to remember that that's when the enemy gets a vote on how they attack something, they're thinking about that. But if they're thinking it's just a free fire zone for them, then they can do what they want. And there's one other piece. I remember a time when we actually had armed officers at our schools watching our kids, right? And it was a police officer or whatever. And then that got watered down and we couldn't have that. But there's a lot of these situations where had we had an armed officer and not I forgot what they used to call them now. They had
resource officers now.
Yeah, they're SROs now.
Yeah. Rather than that, I didn't see anything wrong with that, having that fella or that lady there, because then right off the bat, someone can respond.
Oh, I agree. In North Dakota, we did get legislation finally passed that will allow an individual school to make that decision. Very few are doing it, unfortunately, because their school boards are full of leftists that don't believe in it.
Yeah.
And again, soft targets is what you've created. And if you ever look at some of the mass shooters, which I hate that term too, but all these shootings that have been happening, some of them even say, and they've written it down that, well, I checked out the mall first, or I checked this place out, but they had armed guards there, so we went to the school. I mean, proves our point.
And I mean, you don't even have to, like I said, everybody doesn't have to be armed. I don't want to force somebody to do it.
No.
And, like a couple schools here have SROs, but, and Clay and I have talked about this. I mean, if you only got those, let's say you got one or two in the school and it happens on the other end and everybody's in the hallway, that officer would have to battle through all these people. I want not just the teachers, whoever wants to do it, the principal, but the janitor, because I mean, hey, there's old Larry the janitor, and guess what? Next thing you know, you're going to try and kill a bunch of people in the school, and he's just as handy with the mop as he is his 9mm. So that's what I'm talking about. I like that kind of,
Yeah, and I think the more we do that, the more people understand that. I mean, they're well trained. It becomes inculcated in our culture, and then people understand that, and it's less of a crazy idea that there's guns. It's just the fact that it's a tool, and we're going to take care of our kids. And if we're not going to take care of our kids, then what are our priorities?
That's right.
Yeah, 100%.
So Leon, he actually sent this. He says the Second Amendment does not say the government grants these rights to the people. It declares that the people already have these rights and that the government can't take them away. That's right.
Yeah.
It's actually our Constitution tells the government, in my opinion, what they can't do. Not what they can do to us.
And the Second Amendment is always the stepchild that takes a beating.
Always on my desk.
That's right.
I love this.
I always like to say that. I mean, I don't always say it, but I try to say it when I talk. The Second Amendment civil right, because it is one of our civil rights. It's the Second Amendment.
Yes, sir.
And yes, of course, the 10th Amendment and the 8th Amendment is just as important as the others, but it's the number 2 for a reason.
Yep.
It is a number 2 amendment, the Second Amendment for a reason of importance to the framers and founders. So,
So here's another comment. We've been talking about the schools. Says school boards are full of leftists because pro-American citizens won't run. Many times they run unopposed. Once they are in, they're nearly impossible to vote out. That's very true. It is.
Yeah.
And we could go into that. That's a deep discussion up and down from the federal level all the way down to your township boards. It's hard to get people to run. Yeah. And I don't know why. I ran for the county commission. I probably should have worked a little bit harder at it. I probably would have won that race. But I had to dip my toe in there and check it out. I guarantee I'll be running next time with a real campaign. I was kind of busy hanging that year, so I didn't have a lot of time to.
All right, we got one. We got a comment here.
Yes.
That says, "No, what's this? Is the ATF one? Did you pump that one up there?
No, you
Has
must have hit
ATF
that.
become a sentient self-governing agency with now true oversight or checks and balances? With no true oversight or
I think
checks
that's
and
what it
balances?
meant.
Yeah, I think what has to happen here is we need to relook at these I don't know what you call them, the
Alphabet agencies.
the authorities of some of these agencies, because under Biden and of course under Obama too, these so-called authorities get conflated and they go out and do things and run operations without the authorities, well, the true authorities. And I'm not saying Trump's going to be the magic bullet for all this, but you've got to come back and get control of this and get them back to what they're supposed to be doing.
Well, I guess I'm with you on it. Trump is not the answer to everything. He really isn't. I'm going to be voting for him. I've been supporting him ever since he got in the first time. But at least if he gets in and we can take control of the Senate and the House, possibly, we can get in there and finally start doing some work on this stuff, because you can't do anything if you can't win the vote.
We got to swing it back, man. It's swinging hard the wrong way right now. So
it's got to be too strong leadership. Got to be.
Absolutely.
We get another comment. Yep, go ahead, Clayton.
Lynette puts in there, if a teacher wants to carry and is trained, they should absolutely carry on their person. We take care of the money more than we do our children. Well, that's very true.
Great comment. That is very true.
And we can stop paying for legals and provide that training for them for free.
If guns don't,
I'll tell you about a great program that already does it. NRA has School Shield that nobody will use. I was still working for them when we developed that after the Sandy Hook thing. Okay. And then Jamie was on that board with me, the state board. We funded it for North Dakota. We had money sitting there that we went ahead and approved, and nobody used it.
Wow.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And guess what? If guns, they always say if you put more guns there, that's not the answer. Well, how come the meat puppet is protected by guns? And when he gets off Air Force One and the Air Force Two,
but not for us. I know. I feel
yeah. So Brian Wanner's got a question up here for you. This was on my list to ask you. What are your views on red flag laws, and especially the combat veterans that are possibly unwilling to seek help due to the possible loss of Second Amendment rights now or in the future? Yeah, because they want
huge issue.
Biden regime wants to take guns away from guys who have combat fatigue. I know that's not the word everybody uses, but understandable. You get your ass shot at and shelled, and you see a lot of stuff. I don't think that's a reason to take people's guns away myself at all. And I'm 100% against red flag laws, Alex. But what's your point on that?
Yeah, I'm against that also. First of all, it's just simply wrong. We can't be taking guns from veterans who've worked and fought and gone to combat just because we think that they might be unstable or think they might have a problem. If for the most part, every single one I've ever run into is just dealing with the problem, and more likely it's a tragedy, but more likely to harm themselves than they are going to harm somebody else. And that's the suicide rate. Is still out there for us to deal with. The other piece about red flag laws is that it makes us too susceptible to a simple call or I got a problem with this guy, or I think he's going to cause a problem, and then they're seizing weapons, and that could be anything, and that could be targeted. And I'll go further than that. If that worked, then we would have had a couple of shootings that would have been stopped, because if you look down at Fort Hood, people called about the person that shot about Fort Hood 3 or 4 times, and they just ignored it. It wasn't the locals that ignored it. So I can give you other examples of that. I think the idea, like someone's coming up with a good idea, and I'm not going to say the good idea fairy, but they come up with what sounds like a good idea. And I'm not saying we shouldn't have the discussion, like, how do we deal with mental health and not have somebody who has a mental health problem go and purchase something to go kill somebody at the same time, then label somebody who goes through maybe a messy divorce and goes and gets some mental health care, and all of a sudden they can't buy a gun. So there's a big problem there, and people don't want to get that deep into it, but there is that problem.
It's a huge issue, and I do believe, in fact, I know people have not went to the VA services to get what they needed, for their problem because of it, and some of them have tried to do harm to themselves. They never tried to harm anybody else.
Right.
And the reason is because they didn't want to be labeled that way and lose their Second Amendment rights, which they shouldn't. And then you talk about the divorce thing. Well, we're actually going to have a guest on Wednesday night. He's military, moved in from New York. He wanted to get out of that crazy state, so he was up in the Grand Forks area with the Air Force. And unfortunately, he got here, and then him and his wife divorced. Well, basically it's a de facto red flag law when they slap a protection order on you pretty much right away when you file for divorce. That's 2 years ago. He's been fighting to get his gun rights back. It expires finally here in May.
Wow.
And we're gonna have Ben Koppelman on, a few others, but we're gonna talk about that exact issue. To me, red flag laws, protection orders, whatever they might be, when they affect your Second Amendment rights, they really violate the Fourth Amendment. You've done nothing wrong.
That's right.
But yet they're gonna treat you as you did unless you prove your innocence, and that's the biggest problem with the red flag law. And we're seeing it. The states that have them, people now are getting pissed off at their neighbor. They call the cops and report that they're harming us, and boom, now the guy's got to go to court and spend thousands of dollars.
Well, like I always said, people. I mean, leftists think you're just nuts because you like guns. They think you got a mental problem just because you like guns. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so they could just use that to.
Well,
I mean,
and I would imagine that you would have been a no vote on the bipartisan Safer Communities Act that they pushed through.
You said it wrong, Clay. Do it again. You said it wrong.
Yeah, that's right. The Bipartisan Unsafe Communities Act.
I would be, and I read through that. So
horrible read, but yeah,
trying to push out is just it's just one more way to sneak around it. They're going to keep trying and trying and trying. No matter what happens, they're going to put a different law tomorrow, and we just have to stop it. We have to stick to the Constitution and stick by shall not be infringed.
And it was disappointing to see that we had Republicans in the House that voted for that, and for whatever reason, I mean, there was things in there. They funded this gun safety, whatever the office is that they created in White House, and now they're going to funnel money down
Second
to
Amendment
states.
prohibitionist office.
Yeah, that's what they should call it. Yeah, and through that there was money that was authorized then to do exactly what we were talking about. De facto red flag laws without the law. They're circumventing the legislatures in these states, and they're going to do it that way. And that's
And like you said, Alex, they're never going to stop, and that's exactly one of the reasons Clay and I were founded Guns in the 701 is because we just wanted to keep. They're not going to stop, so we're not going to. And there was really nothing like this in North Dakota, and that's one of the reasons Clay and I started it. So
we need people like you out there doing it and doing it more, because we are in a battle for this, and I don't think a lot of people know, because we just look last year, we just go hunt and we use our guns, and we just don't know that they sit there every single day trying to take something away because they don't understand.
Yeah, they do. They absolutely do.
So
we're coming up about 1:45. Should we do another quick break?
Yeah, you gonna do the quick one or the long one? Hit that long one there.
Hit that long one.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we'll be right back after we pay some bills.
Great.
Lauer Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Give them a call at 701-258-6308.
The team of mechanics at Lauer Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with Lauer, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck, Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake. Lauer Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at Lauer Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns in the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308.
701-258-6308.
Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Discover the world of firearms at Bismarck's Double H Gun Shop. With a wide range of products from handguns to rifles, we cater to all your shooting needs. We are your local gun experts. Not only do we sell firearms, reloading supplies, targets, and whatever your heart desires, but we also have a ton of knowledge and answers.
We shoot, we hunt, we compete, we reload.
It's been the Howard's way since 1976, and we ain't fixing to change anything. Visit our website at hhgunshop.com to browse our inventory. Double H Gun Shop, Bismarck's best new and used firearm reloading supply, gunsmithing, and sporting goods store. Double H Guns.
Double H Guns.
1021 South Washington Street, Bismarck, North Dakota. Call 701-223-4888.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
All right, and we are back. Hopefully everybody took a little break. So we do have a lot of chats coming in. I'm going to tell everybody right now, we're probably not going to get to all of your questions coming in, and some of them I'm probably not going to ask. So just so everybody knows that, but there are a lot of great legitimate ones coming in.
Yep.
I will put this one up because I thought it was an inner. Oh, I missed it now here. It has to do with FISA. Do you remember? Do you see that one there?
I saw it before that. This idea of renewing it. I think I've been talking a lot with folks on this.
Okay.
The overreach that was caused by during the Obama and Biden using FISA, which may have started as an idea to protect America and then got abused, is an idea that if they can do illegal searches or without a warrant or warrantless searches, then how safe are we with our guns in our houses and the rest of that? So, yeah, we're not. Yeah, we're not. So, I think what needs to happen today, and this is going to be something that a lot of people are probably not going to like, is they need to really look at the whole piece. What's the mission intent of that? Is it to keep terrorists from calling somebody and somebody making an attack or whatever? Calling, but communicating.
Right.
If that's it, then let's find a way to do that without having warrantless searches on Americans. And there's probably a way to do that. That takes just smart people to do it. And I think that most Americans would say, I don't want this guy calling in to his whatever that illegally came into the country and setting up and whatever and coordinating. But we got to figure out how to do that. And I think it's pretty clear that Susan Rice and other people in the administration abused that really badly. So when people say they did, yeah, they're right.
They did. They really did. I felt they did. I was not happy that they renewed it. I don't even know if they did. Is it for? I don't remember how many years they renewed it for this time. I didn't pay attention, but we cannot be spying on our own people without a warrant. It's just that simple.
That's the rule.
If we do, then we're no better than Russia or some of these other communist countries. Honestly, that's what they do to their people all the time.
I can hear you, sorry.
Oh, we can't hear you, Jamie.
All right, thanks, guys. Man, I'm gonna have to put a little sticker up here. Take your mute off. Why don't you put? I was actually gonna ask Alex this question, but Doug's got one up here. Why don't you ask him this?
All right. So Doug comes in and says, Alex, what sets you aside from Rick Becker? Fair enough question, I guess.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, we've talked about this. I think Rick and I have briefly talked about this, and probably during the debate, you heard me talk about it a little bit more. I think that it's just the breadth of experience. I think that state level experience. And when I first spoke in District 15, the very first day I stepped into this race, I said state level experience is a lot different from federal level experience or military experience. It's just the way it is. You see different things, you know different things. So for me, I feel like people could come and be elected and go back to Washington and do a job, and because they've done some state job or whatever else. But it's going to take you a while to get your feet on the ground, and we don't have that time. So what sets me apart is that when Trump gets in office, and I voted for him before, I'll vote for him again, we need to turn the ship right then. And that's what I can do. That sets me aside, and I'll continue that way. The other thing that sets me aside is that I'm not a foregone conclusion. And I think that some of the stuff that's been going on is just a lot of saying no, but I'm not seeing a lot of solutions. And we need solutions at the same time.
All right.
Fair enough. Good answer. And I know that's been something I've heard a lot of. I know people have asked me about it. It's like, I don't know. But so Travis has another one.
Yeah, I like this one. I got it, so I'm laughing at.
He says, I'm curious how Alex is going to campaign and find the time to fill a once-in-a-lifetime North Dakota elk tag.
I'm so glad you asked that question. So my first 8 resolution that I put in will be to not hold session during elk season. And then, and I'm not going to budge on that one. So,
that's a wise move.
I'm kind of jealous. I've been applying for a long time and have never got mine yet.
So Cindy had to revive me when she opened the envelope, and she said, "Because I've been putting in this forever." So what I'm going to do is, it's a long season, right? So I'm going to try to go on a radio show and ask if anybody knows anybody who will let me hunt out there. Oh, hey, we're on a radio show now, so if anybody's listening, I'm going to go out there and see if I can find somebody out west there in E3 or 3E and shoot a cow. And then, it's going to be tough. I'll tell you this, though. It's hard because I want to come back and hunt, too. So we better be able to get back on the weekends. And I got deer tags. I got a deer tag already I want to fill, so.
Well, Alex,
And,
you're in luck.
We might know a
because-
guy that we could hook you up with.
Actually,
don't we,
I
Jamie?
know a guy. Clay knows the guy, and I've talked to him, and he said he's going to watch this, and he goes, "I'm going to watch this, and I'm going to see if I want him to come out here and hunt." But if you do, so far, I think he's probably going to be more than welcome to have you out to his place in Western North Dakota. But and he'd be more than happy to help. He's got a radio show. I think, in fact, he would love to have you on KFYR 550. Well, Clay and I are talking about Scott Bachmeyer, Dakota Prairie Outdoors. Scott's
friends with Scotty. I think you'd be a great guest on his show.
Oh, awesome guest. Awesome, man.
So Kelsey Glazer, he says, Becker's a rich kid. Alex has dirty nails and calluses. So I guess he thinks that's what determines it.
There you go. I'll buy that. I'll go with that one.
And I will say there's nothing wrong with being rich.
Yeah. No. Nothing wrong with that at all. Sometimes I wish I was. I'll tell you, the other thing is, I should have said this to you, I'm just not trying to get my foot in the door, and I'm not going for the next promotion. So if I get up there, I'm going to do the job. I'm blessed. I don't need to stay. I don't need to get rich. I got my retirement, and I'm good there,
Mm-hmm.
So
here's another one from Doug. He says, if Trump is not elected, will you put America border security first before Ukraine border security?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
Yeah. And here's the thing. That's not hard to do. Just somebody else asked me this, like, how are we going to do that and how long is it going to take? Day one, on minute one, you just order the border closed. Law enforcement will do it. CBP will do it. ICE will do it. They just need leadership. Those boys don't want it. Men and women, don't want people coming across this border. They'll do it for you. And then the next morning, wake up, and we'll deal with the rest of the stuff because America can do both. But we'll close that border first thing.
Closing it's an important thing. We can deal with everything else that's happened since. The border can be closed. It's not a tough thing. Trump had it down to a trickle, especially compared to what's going down. But my methods, people don't like when I tell them how I close it. But I believe it's an invasion. I believe it is an invasion. Under the articles of the Constitution, if I was the president, I would put my military down there and defend ourselves from the invasion.
So,
and
Alex,
I really don't care.
Yeah.
Why do you suppose these people, Republicans, don't say, I'll tell you what, unless you close the border, we're not giving you 1 damn cent for Ukraine. It's that simple.
I thought we had that half a year ago or something when they said, hey, close the border. I mean, and then we'll talk. And I don't know why they backed off from it. I can't figure out.
Right.
Honestly, I don't know. I cannot figure out how they just don't stand up. Let's say, for example, all of them stand together and say, we're not going to do this. You're going to close the border tomorrow. Issue the order, or we'll start again. And here's the thing. Then they get into this myth of closing the government down. And, if we don't have continuing resolutions, just stand on it. Nothing straightens your
close it.
It straightens your spine like having your back against the wall. Just stand up and do it.
Yeah, so CR. This is how we got here with CRs. It's just in omnibus bills that you don't know what's in them. I'm telling you right now, stand your ground. We got money coming in to cover things. Every day, the taxes that roll in, and I've seen different numbers, but it's enough to cover what we need to cover, but they always go after where it hurts. Mm-hmm. They want to attack the veterans services. They want to attack your Social Security pay. They don't have to do none of that.
That's right.
You don't have to do that, but that's what they do first because they want it to hurt, and it's ridiculous.
So I've brought this up to our senators, which hey, I'm friendly with them, and I like the guys, but I said, what we can't do nothing. I'm like, why don't you guys get in touch with the Border Patrol and just say, tell you what, you guys do your job. I'm going to get a group of senators down there, and we're going to stand with you guys just stand right on the border with them and say, Joe, what are you going to do? Shoot a United States senator for having these guys do the job that we hired them to do and they're obligated to do instead of just letting them flood it?
Yes.
I'm waiting for somebody to have a set of nuts to do something like that because I'm tired of this happening. I've heard the same, like I said, John Hoeven, nice guy. Ever since he's ran for Senate, after he was governor, we got to do something about the border. The border's worse now than it ever was, and he still says the same thing. I want somebody to do something different and stand up. And I get it, the Border Patrol guys, hey, I want them to just rally together and say, screw you, Joe. We're doing what we're supposed to protect America. I get it if they're not doing it. I mean, I'm not saying I would do it if I was there. I'm not in that situation. I want them to do that. But they need the backing of the leaders of our country to do their job and to stand up to people like anti-American president we have, is in my opinion.
That's it.
I mean,
they just need a leader to say it. I'll tell you what, I worked down on the border, and if I get there, and I'm hoping I will get there in November, I'll go down and stand right alongside those guys. Because I know those guys are great. I've trained with them before. They're fantastic people. They work super hard. None of them want to see this. And I heard this myth come out on some show the other day. It wasn't conservative, and it was about how the Border Patrol Union or whatever supported this bill that kept the border open and allowed all this stuff. And that's not the same as the Border Patrol guys. That's just seniors. So if you get to the working guys, they'll close it for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the working guys, the actual agents that are down there. I've had the pleasure to meet a couple of them that were up in this area at one point. They're pissed off. They really are. They're pissed off because they're not being allowed to do what they need to do.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening. Them guys want to close it. They know what's going on, and they know it's a bad thing. It's just the solution is to close the border.
Or if you do something like the guys on the horseback just spinning their reins around, and then turned out, Biden said he was whipping the illegals with it, and it wasn't true, and he still never went and apologized to him. The head of the Border Patrol unit even said, "Hey, man, it's not true that they didn't whip anybody."
Yeah,
but like you say, somebody's got to stand with them who's a leader. I understand that they need somebody who's in,
So Alex, here's one that came in, and I guess this is a pretty interesting question. Leon asks, ask him if his time in the CIA makes him an asset to we the people or to the government 3-letter agency.
No, you said it wrong. Government.
I know.
Those are great. Those are great questions. I really appreciate it, guys. I would be honored to work with those guys. I think they're fantastic people. I think that the leaders, just like every other agency, need to be held to account, but I bet they're the best people we have out there, and I'd work with them in a heartbeat. I think that I've seen them work before at different places. I've met them at embassies and stuff. They're great people.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I mean, and there's like, some people just hate the entire CIA. And I mean, there's, like you said, there's good people. I don't care what line of work you're in. There's good people and there's people that are worthless.
Yeah.
And like you said, a bunch of good people in the city to work with, which leads me into one. I got to ask this before I forget, because the guys, I actually seen the memes going around, and this is the first time I ever saw you, and I was like, what's this crap about?
I know what you're going to ask.
Claiming that you're an FBI plant. To run in North Dakota, and
somebody else, I was at a convention and somebody said to me, "Are you a federal plant?" And I said, "Well, for the Democrats?" And they said, "No, a federal plant." And I said, "Well, what would a federal plant then do?" "Well, to destroy the North Dakota Conservative Party." So my answer is no. And I'm running for this office. Just you can drive out to the farm and meet me. You can talk to my neighbors. I've been here, just like I said. And I do respect the FBI workers, not the leadership. Let's be clear about that. Agents and workers are a lot different than administrators. But that's a great question. Again, I guess what I feel is there's some folks out there that really got burnt by the federal government, and I get it. And they should be really. I'll just say it. They should be pissed because this stuff has gone on too long and it's wrong. And if I could do one thing for Trump, I would go back there and help him gut the senior leadership level, because they got to be gone. And Bush did it well. He shut down people, but Trump trusted people too much when he got in office. I know he doesn't get criticized, so Melania will probably be calling me, But the reality is that that he didn't cut enough people to get to the people who really want to work. And those people at the mid levels and lower levels of the government, they want to work. They're not this garbage. But you got to get rid of the top echelon that thinks they're privileged.
Well, and you're right. Trump trusted way too many people when he got in, and that I can see how that could happen. That's a big responsibility that happens very quickly. So he took the wrong advice from a lot of wrong people.
Yep.
I think this time if he can get in there, I think you're going to see him give the "you're fired" to a lot of people, and it needs to go deep. There's people been entrenched there for decades.
So. Yes,
and they need to go. It's a big problem, and that's how you get to this point.
Yeah.
Well,
they believe they're entitled and that they have this hierarchy.
Yeah.
And then they start making law from within.
You got to remember too. We always talk about. I mean, when Clay and I first talked about Trump, it's always about getting federal judges, Supreme Court. Trump put a ton of them in.
Yep.
He did.
And got him appointed and seated. Biden's actually done more, not saying the Supreme Court, but nationally, Biden has actually put more judges in there. If he wins again, every good constitutional pro-American thing these courts have did, they will reverse the hell out of that. The Bruin decision, we're a gun show. The Bruin decision has turned around so many unconstitutional gun control laws. They will get rid of Bruin in a heartbeat. I mean, so if there's people out there, Republicans, I don't like Trump. Hey, listen, I probably wouldn't want to sit around and drink with the guy either. He does some stuff I don't like, but you got to vote for the policies of a president like that. I mean, you got to suck it. I mean, the Democrats do it. Republicans need to do it when it comes.
His policies made America so incredibly strong. People need to focus on that. You can't look at every little comment. Look, there's some days when you want him just to stop talking. At some point, he's ahead. But you know what? I can't argue with those policies. It was fantastic. Yeah. I'd serve under him any time, and I'd work with him to stop this chaos at the border and the rest of this stuff. There's something else too to know. You know, he's incredible with his family. His family is super strong. You got to look at that and say, there's something right going on there. You know.
Oh yeah, I mean, he might not be refined. He might, you know what? I respect the fact that he tells it how it is. It doesn't bother me in the least. I love it. I went to his rally in Rapid City here last year, and it was fantastic. Took my youngest son. I mean, the guy, just watch him speak. He's genuine. He really is. He might not say it right. He might tell you to go cram it or go to hell. That's okay. That's real. I mean, ain't that how a lot of people talk, honestly?
Well,
I'd rather it be like that.
Maybe I'm not too refined either, so maybe we'll get along.
That's okay.
That's perfect.
We're not either, are we, Jamie?
No. Trust me, I've been called an idiot and an a-hole
I love it when I get called a racist because I don't agree with somebody and it had nothing to do with their color.
That's the go-to. So I always say it myself. I'm knuckle dragging right-wing gun nut. So that's just the way.
So I'm guessing, Alex, and this is just a question from me: is I believe that our founding was that we were supposed to have a weak central government with strong states. And I know that's how it was set up. If you go read any of the history on that, how we were set up, how we came to be, I'm guessing that's how you believe as well. And I think we've drifted way, way far away from that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. There's very specific things the federal government needs to do, and they've drifted from that. And that's why there's all this overspending. That's why there's all this overreach into the states. If they just take it back to where it's supposed to be, get out of the states' business. Everything else that's not specifically outlined in the Constitution goes to the states. And then the federal government does a very small job, and we can get that job done. We can get the budget lines done. We can provide for the defense. We can provide national security. And then it's not such a complicated thing. But when you create entitlements and you step into all this stuff and you take money from Social Security and you pretend that you're doing it for the people, but the real thing you're doing is trying to make it dependent on you, that's going to fail and that's going to be wrong.
You're right. You're exactly right. They're creating dependence, which also creates a voter base for them because they need more. And that's exactly what they're doing with our money.
Yes.
With mine, yours, everybody's money.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I'm a guy that actually has to pay income tax, and I get pretty pissed off every year.
Yeah.
Farm and ranch here, and I wish everybody had to write that check every year rather than have it taken out of their paycheck.
Yeah. That was my plan, probably.
Yeah, I pay it every year, and I'm wondering what I'm paying. Why am I still paying on my retirement?
Yeah, you already did that, didn't you?
Yeah, I thought I already did that. And look, we got to get back to personal responsibility and get the government off our backs on this, because I know the work the guys do. They'll do great work, and there's a place for that in the federal government, but not down here at this level. You call us on a big dike project like Devil's Lake or maybe the dredging the Mississippi, but I just think that they've gotten way out of control in this.
Absolutely.
So Doug says he thinks we've gotten burned by the North Dakota Republican Party, hence the distrust. I would agree with that. For the Republican Party in North Dakota was going far too left, getting too many. They weren't following the guidelines that's laid out in the party platform.
They weren't, and that happened. District 31, we had Perry Schaefer as our chair, and he was horrible. He pulled the same stuff in our own district that when he finally got elected then to the state chairmanship, he just did the exact same thing. And his whole point, that's why he changed the rules. He never planned on leaving power. Perry Schaefer would have destroyed the Republican Party in North Dakota if we would not have been able to go into our districts and essentially take them over, put in new chairs, which we did in District 31.
Right.
And that, if you look at how Sandy got elected, was one vote. And so you can, anybody that was involved in that deal go forth and look and see who you flipped out of there. Which in our district we got rid of Don Scheibel, who, as far as I'm concerned, is a rhino from Mott. And I ain't afraid to tell these guys this. I really am not. I've told it to their face. And I'm telling you, Mary got in there, and she might have been that one vote. Any place you were at, that one vote, it made a difference. And now we're where we're at. Maybe we can bring this party back. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's get this CWD question. I'm just talking a little, maybe a little hunting here on this one, Alex. So the federal government spent $10 million on chronic wasting disease. It's the COVID of wildlife. It's from Travis Jensen. I agree with that.
I do too.
CWD.
We've done a lot on CWD here.
Yeah.
I mean, what's your opinion on that?
So we hunt. We always run into this issue where they say there's CWD or this, and you got to do mandatory testing, or some fishing. You guys need to cut the glands on your animal, or you got to take the heads. In Montana, I was at one time. I had to drive the heads 65 miles just to drop them off in a dumpster. I don't know if they tested them, but here's the thing. That I don't see that money affecting anything. So I don't see it getting better. I don't see it stopping. I don't see it with all the studies, and I also don't see anybody getting sick from it. I'll be honest. We have had our animals tested. You have to do it if you're one of those things, or you may not get your license next time, which I'm not sure I agree with that. But the thing is, I'm eating that meat still. And if you talk about CWC, I'm not eating the spinal column and stuff. So
yeah, the brain where the prions are and all that. And there's I mean, in deer, they always say, well, they transfer it when they're eating. And I mean, you ever see deer together, they're touching noses and they're eating out the hay bales, they're both in there munching on it.
Yeah.
I just
licking urine. Yeah, they're going to get it. Yeah.
I mean, their reasoning for it doesn't pass the smell test.
No,
as far as I'm concerned. So,
and it's a lot.
And let's remember, every time they find one, it's not something they found dead most of the time. It's something that somebody turned in. So it didn't die of CWD. Right. It died because it was being hunted, and a hunter killed it. Yeah, lead poisoning. Yeah. So, the number, it doesn't make sense. If you didn't turn that stuff in, they'd never know it. You wouldn't even know it existed, probably. Right. By the way, when I go to those meetings and I talk about them places on the line, like up here by Flasher, and say, hey, there's a corn pile over here, but, literally 100 feet over, they go over to the CWD.
Yeah, the other side of the highway.
Yeah.
Like, what's the difference?
Yeah.
And they're dumbfounded. Well, we got to draw a line somewhere. I said, no, you don't have to do it at all, really.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what's taking a lot more animals out is I hardly ever use the term fish and wild management together because there's very little management. And then I see you can't get deer out. Look, before these big freeze last winter, we hardly anybody got rifle tags up here. And then we had deer dying. We had 6 in the yard dead, and we had another 20, 30 up in the fields dead. We didn't hardly anybody got tags. We could have hunted those deer, but we weren't an issue. So there's a flaw there. And I see it with cow elk, and in Montana, they're dying now because of bad policies. They need to kill off so many cow elk, or they're going to die. So
that's why Travis game and fish mismanagement.
Yeah, I always call them the North Dakota Game and Fish Mismanagement. They get pretty mad when I do it on the radio and when I do it on the show, but I care, of course. Travis brought up, the CWD and the federal government's money. That came from the what was that? The Outdoor Act or something that they passed.
Yeah, I don't remember how many million or billion it was.
Unfortunately, Kramer voted for it in the Senate, and I'm sure I didn't look to see if
Hovind did too.
Voted it in the House, but it was not a good act, honestly. It had too much pork in it. Maybe the premise was right, but I'm guessing that bills like that, you would probably be against. I know that the biggest problem they have with them kind of bills, they give them to you about 12 hours, maybe 24 hours out, and you're supposed to read these 2,000-3,000 page bills. Well, I don't know about you, but I can't do that.
Well, I'm not that fast, but I'm a pretty quick reader. But I will tell you something that I think they need to do. If the states are supposed to take care of this, and the state has wildlife officers, and the state knows these things because they're on the ground with them, why aren't they just passing that? I mean, it's your money already. It's our money already.
Right.
Why aren't they just taking that money and telling the states or giving it to the states and say, hey, you've got an issue down there. You need to do this. I forgot what it was. Was it black lung or something? The antelope were getting in Wyoming, and they literally were dying. Just a lot of them, right? And they had to stop hunting them. But it was all Wyoming Fish and Game guys that were handling that. So why isn't
Wyoming?
Yeah, why isn't they just handling?
Wyoming's good about kicking out federal money, and they're the ones that took the lead on that. And I can tell you right now, right here on my place, I got about 3,200 acres here. I can tell you on this place, EHD has taken out more deer on this place than CWD ever has.
Oh,
and I'm in a CWD unit here.
Our ranch too, for sure.
Okay, really?
Not even close.
Wow.
I actually had one tested just because I had one behind my place here that was kind of thrashing around and foaming and wasn't dead. And so when it died, I actually called, and I didn't trust Game and Fish, so I went ahead and called the BIA over here at Standing Rock and got a hold of their game warden, and they had it tested. Guess what? Negative. It did not die of EH or of CWD.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Well,
So,
yep.
Overdosed on that good alfalfa you got.
I think it was EHD. They didn't test for that.
Right.
They only tested for CW. That's another thing I found out in this testing. They only test for one thing. They don't test for everything a lot of times. So it's like, oh, that's kind of a skewed result then.
Right.
Yeah.
If you got something that dies like that,
Well, you're looking
you
for
probably
your
should check
result.
it out.
You're looking for your result, and you're not looking for anything else.
They don't want to find EHD because then they might have to do something on
So,
that.
Right.
So Alex, what? It's kind of a softball question, but I always like to ask people is, what's your favorite personal firearm?
Okay, so for different things, we have different guns. You know, I mean, I like my Remington 870 for home defense and for just general shooting and anything that needs killed that's maybe too hard for me to hit while it's running. And it's good because you know, Cindy can use it and the kids can use it and whatever, and we have a couple of them so that we're very familiar with it. I like to keep the same platform so they're not handling different ones. If I'm just shooting maybe for fun or maybe a skunk near the barn or something, I really love a Winchester Model 72. So this is my pitch for anybody out there who's got a Winchester Model 72 in your closet and I'm driving around, flag me down because I love them. So you know the weapon, it's a tubular magazine, and it's a wonderful weapon made about 1940. If you saw my video, I was carrying one. I was introduced to one by a farmer nearby here, and now everyone in the family has one, to include my 3-year-old granddaughter, even though she's not shooting yet. So it's just a great weapon to learn to shoot. You can shoot, you know, shorts, longs. You can find shorts. Okay, I have them all for the kids. But I just love that weapon. And then, of course, for deer hunting, normally I'm shooting a 308. I just really like it.
Perfect.
An old Weatherby.
Awesome.
I've got a typical Remington 700 ADL, that 30-06 that I use for elk. So I've got a couple 300s, but I haven't really had to employ them yet because most of the elk came close enough. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, 308, man, 308's tough to beat for an all around.
It is a great gun.
Love
yeah.
308.
Yeah.
Love
I was
308.
shooting a federal, 180 grain with the regular nozzler boat tail, you know, and I tell you what, it doesn't drop much out there. It's really nice round.
Awesome.
So just I got to give you the positive comments here as well. Leon says he's got to go, but he said tell him he's got my vote as a delegate in 24 and will have my support going forward. So there you go.
Thank you very much.
You reached one guy, right?
That's what I need.
Right, that's how it started. Thanks, Leon. Thanks for watching, buddy. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Yeah. So what's your favorite thing to hunt then, Alex? Is it deer? What do you got up there? You got muleys up in Canada too, don't you? Muleys, whitetails. What do you got up there?
Somebody saw a muley up here. We chased it right back to Canada. We got mostly whitetails up here, and we do see some moose around here, but mostly whitetails. Yeah, and of course I love hunting elk because we just love to get elk. You know.
So what's your favorite hunt? You think your favorite game? Elk, whitetails, pheasants. What's your favorite?
Yeah, meat. So
meat.
It's
I like that.
I like the longer hunts on elk because you're really out there ways, and it's just so good. I really love that piece. And we process all our own. We cut all our own. But I'll tell you, walking up here around the farm and hunting with the friends up here in North Dakota, there's hunting, right? So you stay on as long as you can and try not to kill too soon, so you can have some fun and walk into peace and quiet. And then, it's just great. There's nothing. I got to tell you that I was hunting with a buddy pushing cattails one day, and a buck. We were like 6 feet apart pushing these cattails, and a buck came up between us, right between us, with all the cattails just streaming off his antlers. It was like a Cabela's picture. Of course, we couldn't shoot.
Awesome.
It was just one of those moments I'll never forget. So yeah, I just really love it.
Well, you got. I just got a text from one of my friends. He said you got his vote, so you're winning him over. You're winning him over here. All right,
good to hear.
I like that. I like. So let's.
We'll probably take one quick more break and then come back and probably wrap it up here about a half hour after the hour. Sounds
good.
Guys,
yeah. You good with that, Alex?
Yes, sir.
All right. Awesome.
Right. Thanks.
We'll do that then.
Located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Give them a call at 701-258-6308.
The team of mechanics at Lauer Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with Lauer, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck, Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake.
Make no mistake.
Lauer Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at Lauer Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308.
701-258-6308.
Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Discover the world of firearms at Bismarck's Double H Gun Shop. With a wide range of products from handguns to rifles, we cater to all your shooting needs. We are your local gun experts. Not only do we sell firearms, reloading supplies, targets, and whatever your heart desires, but we also have a ton of knowledge and answers.
We shoot, we hunt, we compete, we reload.
It's been the Howard's way since 1976, and we ain't fixing to change anything. Visit our website at hhgunshop.com to browse our inventory. Double H Gun Shop, Bismarck's best new and used firearm reloading supply, gunsmithing, and sporting goods store. Double H Guns.
Double H Guns.
1021 South Washington Street, Bismarck, North Dakota. Call 701-223-4888.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Faint when the truth is.
And we are back.
Coming.
So
Yes,
a few
All right.
comments came in here. I got to just put on here. Josh says that he's great to see Bloodline Kinetics has jumped on as a sponsor. He's a great guy to work with. Hey, Josh, when you see him, just tell him that you heard it right here on Guns of the 701 and tell him we're proud to have him as part of the team. He also says, he goes, and I'll show you this one. He likes what he's hearing from you, Alex. He really likes
right.
it. So that's good. to hear.
Yeah, we got a couple of those on here, Clay. Keep pedaling up there. We got a few more there, like Alex, what he's talking there.
Yeah, I'm not seeing them all, huh?
Aren't you? All right, let me go back up here. We got
Okay.
Travis Jensen says, seems like a down-to-earth fella. We
There
need
you go.
more boots and blue jeans that can relate to us average folks. I agree with that, man. Alex, you're a super easy guy to talk to. I like what you're saying, and you seem definitely down with the normal people here in North Dakota. And Doug Wolf, he says, I do need some threads cut. Well, hey, Bloodline
There you go.
Kinetics is where you want to go. Jake's going to
Take care
set
of
you
it.
up, man. And a Mac 10, he said.
And a Mac 10. You got to get one of them gold ones like you saw it. It was blue and then it was gold.
Yeah. You agreed with Travis. Josh, he agreed with Travis what he said, so for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Clayton. And by the way, not only just Bloodline Kinetics, everybody you do business with any of our other sponsors, make sure you tell them you heard it on Guns in the 701 or you heard it on 701 Nation. You saw it on any of our videos, or you heard Clay and Mikey D talking about it with Mitchell in the morning every Friday.
Absolutely. So, Brian, he chimes in. He says, really appreciate
I love
Alex
it.
spent a little time with a bunch of MVEs. Oh, yeah. There we go. You know what that is, right, Alex?
No, I do not know what that is. I'm sorry.
Jamie, would you do the honor?
Biden and the FBI put out a memo that said people who fly Gadsden flags and the United States flag and support the Second Amendment NRA, they're officially known as MVEs, militia violent extremists.
Well, count me in. Count me in because there's a flag out front. Okay, so
There you go.
one of them. Wow,
I love it.
I'm sure if we own guns, too. I bet you with this behind me, I'm definitely on that list.
Oh, yeah, Clay. You're getting droned, man.
Probably.
I saw those back there. I think you got one more than I do. I think I'm not sure, but I got to count.
You know, the sad thing is that's just a small sampling.
Yeah.
That's a good thing, not a sad.
But I do have, if you look right there, that's the M1 Grand. And that's a
that's
fun gun to
sweet.
shoot. It really
That's
is.
a sweet gun right there. Yeah.
Took me a long time to acquire a good one.
Alex, what are your thoughts on who Trump should pick for his VP? If it was up to you and President Trump called you and said, "Hey, who do you think I should take, Alex?"
Wow. Just to get the job done, man. I tell you what. I saw Rick Scott one time talk, and I think he's super great. He's a great guy that could back him up really well. I don't know if he's got the alacrity to move within the party and get some of the stuff done, but he's super smart.
Agreed.
Who else is out there? We can't take Kristi Noem because in South Dakota will go to hell.
Yeah.
I don't think
She was one of mine. She's one of mine.
Yeah, there you go. Man. Condoleezza, right? I mean, yeah, Condoleezza's not there right now, so we can't take her. She'd have been good.
I'm a Cowboys fan, so she's with the Denver Broncos. So
okay. Well,
kidding.
That's a
Go
tough
ahead.
one. But here's what he needs more than anything is he needs somebody who will follow that stuff he's going to do, get those executive orders put in place, and immediately move those executive orders into law. So, I mean, there's good people out there, but wow, great question.
I think too, he's got to have someone he absolutely knows is loyal this time to him.
Yes,
to get that done. And I think he's going to have to. Myself, Jamie, and I have talked about this many times. I think he's got to have one of the states that will bring one of those swing states and swing it completely towards him. He's doing a pretty good job in the polls, but if I was the guy running, I'm going to pick someone who's going to help get me elected and get the job done.
Yeah.
And as much as I hear Kristi Noem's name being done, that serves him no purpose.
Oh, it serves
because
nothing.
South Dakota is going to him no matter what.
Yeah, exactly.
And I like Carrie Lake, but Carrie Lake's already running the Senate campaign that she wants that seat. So I don't see that happening.
In my opinion, I think politics is beyond. I mean, I don't think it matters anymore what state they're from. I think it's got to be. You got to have a little bit of cult of personality. And as much as I hate to say it, I think he's going to have to pick I don't hate to say it because there's more probably conservative women than men, though. But I think he needs to pick a woman because he's going to have to get the woman vote. He's still lagging way behind in that compared to anything else. I mean, he's up in everything. And like I said, I love Kristi Noem. I don't know if she's – I mean, you can write it down. I think he's taken Tulsi Gabbard, to be honest with you. And people – oh, God, what did she used to do? She was for this and that. Well, guess what? So was Trump, and everybody said that about him. Yeah. Trump was a conservative president. I mean, I think he was even more conservative than Reagan, to be honest with you, in my lifetime. I could be wrong.
He may do that, but I will say I don't think he'll pick a sitting senator or a sitting House member that would be replaced by a Democrat because that's what would happen.
It just makes us
weak. Right. Yes. And we're already losing – I guess wannabe Republicans as they're leaving early so they can give the House to the Democrats, the way it looks to me. But so here's a very serious question. Alex, Ford, Chevy, or Dodge?
All right, so I'm only gonna make one group angry. So I have I've got a Dodge. I run around for the election here on my red Dodge. You'll see me. It's a 4-door and it's got sign on the side. But I was fortunate enough. My wife bought me a 1-ton Ford crew cab 4-wheel drive flatbed, 1990,
nice.
And or 2000.
Oldie.
2000 with a 7.3 liter engine. It is the sweetest utility truck I've ever had. It is so smooth. I just love it. Yeah. She picked it up and I called her. I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "I'm driving 70 miles down the mountain road." I'm like, 70 miles an hour. I'm like, "Okay, you can slow down." That's like a dream.
I can tell you, I've owned a lot of 7.3s and and I loved them all. In fact, I had a 6-liter briefly, but it wasn't a very good motor when it came out, and I ended up going to Dodge at that point, and I'm still driving one. So,
yeah.
I seen a friend of mine, Brianna. Brianna says hi from up there in Dunn County. Hey, Brianna, appreciate you tuning in. Tell everybody hi up there.
Great, good to see you guys. Thanks for calling in.
We got
we've had a lot of chats going on and a lot of people hanging in there. So
we got a Ben Carson vote for his VP. I mean, I love Ben Carson. What he said, he ain't charismatic enough. I'm sorry, you gotta have some personality now to.
And like Lynette says, Vivek. Vivek made a name for himself. There's no doubt about that. I
like Vivek
too, but I do believe he will put Vivek somewhere in his administration. I do
Agreed.
think he'll ask him.
He should use him somewhere. He's a smart guy.
Absolutely.
And I think he'd be loyal to him.
I think you're absolutely right. I do believe that. I'll go on the record right now here, and I've said it before. He should never have Doug Burgum anywhere near him, and I down that rabbit hole tonight.
He's gonna be.
I know he will, and especially not the Department of Ag. That's maybe. I got to ask you this, Alex, and it's not Second Amendment related. I'm very involved in ag. That's what I do.
Yeah.
I take zero from the federal government, and I don't want it. I do not like the programs the way they are. I don't think they should exist. I think they get abused every day. And it's unfortunate that we got guys out there they count on that as part of their budget now to operate on. And I want to see it go away. And I'm probably a minority in that, but I'm not overextended and I'm not buying things I shouldn't. I'm not renting land that was way too much. What's your kind of your idea of that? Like I said, I really got a problem with federal programs in the ag community.
Right. I've been studying that ag bill and all the things that are inflated inside of it. And if you look at it, it's almost like a mini omnibus with all the stuff attached to it. It's got a ton of aid in there and stuff that appeases the east and left coast. And I think the issue is that you can't do programs like that. If the idea, let's just take one step, take it apart. If the mission was to ensure food security for the nation, right? And that's what we're looking at. So they say. Okay, but if that was the mission, and we just were doing that, then it wouldn't be these giant programs that enrich people that were someone with 50,000 acres or whatever. And you would build it so that, hey, farmers won't fall through and won't lose any more family farms. Not people that are doing bad risk or unbalanced risk, but something where. Go ahead.
I agree with you, and I'm gonna point out the EQIP program right now, which I think is a horrible program, and nobody should use it. For one, it's not the taxpayers' money. It's not their job to pay for my water lines or my tree belts or all this. You can name it whatever you want. It's my private land. Plus, I got to give up a little freedom if I want it, because you got to allow them a lot of access and a lot of things. But I look at that EQIP program, and we put it in water lines on this place, but we did it on our own. We did it in phases, like a normal person did with the money we had that we budgeted for it
at the time. Sure.
But when I see these kinds of programs, it infuriates me, because I look around at all the neighbors around here, and I think every single one of them's on that government teat. And, I do it myself. I'm proud of that. I don't have the newest, latest, greatest equipment, but it's all paid for and it's mine. And that's probably the difference. These guys, they get in this repetition, and then they do lose their place, because eventually they can't make that thing balance. It's not cash flowing anymore.
Right. And that's the danger in it, because once you get down that road, if you can't recover from it, if you're not smart enough, I mean, it's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword. What I want to see is, I want a federal government that doesn't support the redistribution of wealth and helping rich people to get richer on it. And I'm not talking about the Democrat talking here, race on the rich. I'm talking about programs that just are out there, I'll just say pandering for votes, and then it's not really doing anything. What I don't want to see is another single family farm of good people that can't start or can't keep going because of a couple of bad years. There should be
and I think that it's actually caused a bigger problem with any young people getting started, because you've got the big guys now, and they do benefit the most because they got the acres. Sure. They don't cap it really. I mean, I think there is a cap, but it really isn't a cap. And they're the ones that, I know guys that they're getting $80,000 to $100,000 a year, and they're small guys in this area, because you can look that up on the website of what they're getting.
Sure.
And then that's on top of selling their commodity, whether it be cattle, livestock, corn, whatever it might be. Right. And to me, it's insane that we're doing this. And you know what? If they want to have something that they're doing like they do now, where the young farmer can take out very low interest loans, maybe. I don't know if I'm for that either.
Right.
I don't think, to me, at the very top, it should be state run at that. I don't believe that it should be federally run at all.
Certainly should be pushed down to the states. There's no question at all. And I think state people would know that. There's something else here that really people need to do, is we've got to get back to getting inflation down and getting this country back in shape. If we were energy dominant and we didn't have this crisis at the border, then people would be looking at 1% loans or whatever they'd be looking at. Correct. It would be a much different situation. We wouldn't be being taken advantage by China. Our commodities would have the right price. Farmers would get the right price. So sometimes all that gets pushed aside in place of, let's put another program in place. Does that make sense?
It makes absolute sense. And I think they do that on purpose, so they can create another program, gain more control and dependency, and the circle just keeps going.
So Doug's got a question here.
Yeah.
It says, "Can we separate welfare from the farm bill?" Which I love, and I've heard that. Senator Kramer said that. Hovind said that. But then when it doesn't happen, I mean, I hardly ever hear him bring it up again. I want whoever our House representative, Alex, if it's you, I want somebody on almost a daily basis to tell the people in North Dakota what the hell is going on and why, like this administration, these people that have been killed by these illegal aliens. Well, I hear nothing of it from our representatives in D.C.
Yeah.
We should be pegging their ass to the wall with this. Biden's ass, not our, but because it's his fault. It's Biden, and they don't blame him for it.
Well, I agree.
It's his fault directly.
So we were just talking about this when we started this whole race. I hadn't had Facebook or any of these things, right? So these guys I was working with, they're like, "Well, we're going to get you set up," and I said, "Well, don't do a thing to set me up unless it carries through to one of my congressmen and I can talk to people, because it's so impossible to talk to your representatives right now. And I've tried sending things through to them, and it's a lengthy process. I don't get the answer back. So what I'm building from the beginning is, I hope, something where we can be talking, and Cindy and I were already talking about how do you come back every other weekend? You just have to do it, because you've got to get back and talk to folks. But let's talk about separating that farm bill. Everyone says you can't do it, and you can't do it until you try to do it. So they say they won't vote for it unless you tie WIC and SNAP to it. But the reality is, the truth is, even though we don't want to say it, those should be in Health and Human Services. And that's even a giant bill. So it's just time to start pushing the idea forward until we get it right. Because if we don't, it's just another government program that keeps getting pushed together, and we have to do it. And we say to everybody, well, we got to vote for it.
And I think they pushed it into the USDA or into the Farm Bill, because that's what they did to guarantee its passage. We're talking SNAP and WIC and food stamps and all these other, and it's the biggest part of that Farm Bill because they know that they can't vote against it. They know that the reps and all spending bills come from the House, so it's the reps primarily, and they won't vote against it.
They said, what is
we got to get it stripped out of there.
Yeah, but 75% is not ag, right? 1 second.
Right.
Hey, Sam.
You got to tell the person calling you. You're supposed to be watching me on the live stream.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, man. Thanks for the support.
They asked me a question like, "Are you on the radio?"
so let me be the first one to say is, if you do get elected to U.S. House, I would suggest coming on here on a weekly or bi-weekly basis and telling everybody what's going on there. If you don't have your own thing going, you're more than welcome.
Way to do it. Absolutely.
I'd love to do it, man.
We could do absolutely. Guns and Garbage Talk from DC or something. I don't know.
I like that. We'll figure something out
there. They might even hook you up with a pretty nice system to do these kinds of things.
I bet they give you a headset or something. There you go.
There you go. $22 at Walmart.
$22. There you go. Doug points out something I think is and he's right. The big three Democrats back in the 80s ran on what they brought back, $3 for every dollar sent to North Dakota. Sounds like pork to me. It is, Doug. And they weren't the only ones, and they're not just. It's not limited to just the Democrats. We got Republicans that do. Hey, I brought this all back. Well, should you have, first of all?
Yeah.
And what did you get for it?
Right.
And that's the problem. We got to quit thinking about the feds as the big piggy bank for everybody, and that will help. But we could go up and down the gamut here.
What I always like to call the big three was Dorkin, Pomeroy, and Comrade.
Comrade.
You got that Pomeroy, right, Clay? Pomeroy?
I did.
It always amazes me that we send our tax dollars in, and then they dole them back out like it was a gift. And I'm not saying that to stir folks up. I'm just saying it's the wrong way to look at it, because they're your dollars you're sending in. So yes, if you want to send $1 in because you think you're going to help the military, I get that. Okay, those are taxes. We're gonna support those things. But just sending it in so they can send it back and say, hey, look what I got you. I'm not sure that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, they'd come on a regular basis and brag that this is exact words they say. We're bringing the bacon home to North Dakota.
Yeah.
And I mean, money needs to be allocated to states through the feds, because I mean, they take our tax dollars, but I mean, they get the pork spending, and we had Doug sit right here, and we had a Democrat governor. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was the Lord giveth and sinner taketh away.
All right, this is off a Second Amendment. You know what? But if you got a little time, I'll ask you this question.
Yep.
Do you believe the federal government should own the United States. I'll kind of rephrase it.
Yeah.
They start talking about Forest Service land and all that kind of stuff. Should they own those amounts of land, or should they be sold off, or should they be transferred to the states? That's the question.
So if anything was done, I don't think it should be sold off because big interest will jump all over that, and all that land will get developed and cut. And
I'm on board with you.
Whatever. So
Yep.
pushing it back to the states and letting the states manage it, there'd be nothing wrong with that. There'd be nothing wrong at all with that. So when the federal government assumed those lands early on, I don't know if there were states in all those places to run those lands. So that may be one of the things, right? As it transitioned, but now,
Well, yeah.
but now just as
Now I think you're right.
there's probably 30% or more. I mean, I heard just 30 thing. I think there's more than 30% owned by the federal government. So it would cut down
it's way
administration
more.
too to the states, right?
Yeah, and the 30 by 30 thing, that's just not, they want a third, they want actually a 50 by 50 more percent than by 2050.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not counting what they already own. They want that in addition. I got involved with that with the Farm Bureau because I'm a chairman of our county down here. And we'd actually, me and another guy, we're the guys that put that together to take Trent Loose around and have him speak on that.
Yeah.
So 30 by 30 is
right.
a horrible idea. And they want 30% more than what they already have. And that, I look at it this way. There's 2 government allotments that go with my place here, and I can't do anything about it. I would love to just buy it. I'll buy it. Put it back on the tax rolls, which property tax, that's a whole other issue. But I don't think they should own it. And that'll come from back after the 30s and into the 40s. And they took the watersheds, and that's how they acquired that because a lot of people were going broke. And the idea was they were supposed to sell it back, and they never did it. They just held
I would say if it ever did come to the point when it did go back to the states, and I would definitely say that those should not be appointed by the governor or anybody. That those need to be elected positions. If you had a state land board that managed, any land from the feds that was turned back over to the state, the people who would manage that land, whatever board it would be, 3, 4, 5 people, that needs to be elected positions, not appointed. Because when you appoint people all the time, you can't get rid of them. And if they suck at their job or they're against what the position should be, you can't get rid of them.
Well, I'd even take it a step farther, Jamie. I'd actually put it in the county's hands. They're the ones that are going to know how to best manage
I'd be down with that too,
around,
for sure.
Because they're doing the county already.
But there's going to have to be some kind of clause in it that says that special interest can't usurp it and take it, or foreign interest for certain, because it's just such a ripe thing. I mean, some of these forests and some of the rest of that. So the other thing I would say about all that stuff is that it's always aggravated me that I drive up to a national park that I already paid for. And number one, I can't get in, and number two, it's $30 to get in. I'm like,
I know, isn't that something? I thought that for many, many years.
Yeah.
It's like I always gave credit to Crazy Horse Memorial down there, around Custer.
Yeah,
they stayed private, even though they were offered federal help. They said, nope, we're going to stay how we are. So you do pay to get in there, but that's going towards what they're doing, and they've built quite a thing there. They're still. I bet you that thing will never get finished because it's too big of a money maker. But hey, it's a private entity; they may do what they like.
Yeah, it just drives me crazy, And here's the other thing. I always argue when I'm hunting. BLM's got a responsibility. I'm not picking on the BLM guys, but if you're out there, just listen to this for 1 second. Maybe go do it. You got them little BLM tags that are 6 inches long and 2 inches tall, and you're supposed to clip those on the gates or the fences when I'm crossing through different lands, so I can know whether to hunt there. And if I didn't pay for a GPS a software on my phone, I wouldn't know. So go out there and market properly. I mean, come on, at least do that for us so we can then use our land, the land we own. Is that too much?
It ain't that hard.
Yep, it isn't that hard. No, I agree.
I'm just saying.
So, well, I don't know. I'm about out of questions, and mine's slowing down here too.
Alex, you got anything you want to add before we?
I want to get my pitch in, if I can, please. I think you asked me a question earlier. You said how am I different from the other candidates, and maybe it's just that maybe I'm just more like other North Dakotans, I guess, that I feel that I know. I know a lot of people that hunt, and I know a lot of people. I don't know a lot of folks in the city, so that's probably wrong. I mean, they're great people too, but the reality is that we've got a job to do, and every time I run into anybody from North Dakota, we just get that job done. We go do whatever we need to do. We're self-reliant, and that's what we need to be at. And representing those people, we just have to turn this thing and turn it around. So if you're liking what you hear, and I hope you folks will have me back on again. Go to
Absolutely.
Alex.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, I'll be around. Please go to alexfornorthdakota.com, read about it. If you want to help or support, or you want to call me and have me come out to a event, I'll come out and get to know you.
And why don't you give out your social media that you're on, Alex?
Okay, it's alexfornorthdakota.com, and if you go there to plug in, you'll see the Facebook and everything else attached to it, and you can call my phone too
Right there.
at 701-230-5848. You can text that, and I'll get it. I know I get behind sometimes, but I'd like to come out. We're going to be driving around, so give us a shout.
Hey, could you give me that telephone number again? I'll just put it up
Yeah,
there.
701-230-5848.
Wait, all right, and we are going to add that right to the stream quick, like.
Hey, Clay, is
There
Crazy
you go.
Hillbilly a person or a bot?
Yeah, wait, I think I know that.
So there
Hold on
you
a second.
So yeah, and then his website's right there, as you can see, guys.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to find that as well. So and he's got his social media stuff up here.
Yep.
Facebook, X, looks like Instagram, Truth, and YouTube. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then
So you find him on Truth. That's good because that's where I'm at most of the time
There
if
you
I
go.
go anywhere.
Yeah, and I will say my dog is getting more votes from me right now, but that's okay because he his team, you know.
I don't know. Well, you won over a few tonight, and that's how you start, Alex. I mean, you're like I said. I told everybody you're a personable guy, and you seem really down to earth, and I think that's kind of what everybody's getting from you. You seem genuine, and
there's some crazy hillbilly.
Yeah,
Crazy
that's what I said.
hillbillies.
Yeah, that's
giving
what I
you-
said. I don't know if he's real or not, but yeah, we got Whale and Turn. It's a great show, guys. I like what I'm hearing. There you go, Alex.
There you
See,
go.
I didn't. It was hard. It was hard to disagree with you on anything. I thought I would, but I got to be honest, I didn't. So.
Well, I really appreciate it, guys.
No,
Great evening.
And I'm glad that Jamie got a hold of you. It was a pleasure to have you on. And,
Yeah.
and we'll have anybody on, guys. That's what this is about.
Yeah.
So.
I'm gonna Clay or I'll talk to Scott, and then we'll see if I'd love to have Scott have you on his show. He's got a far bigger audience. He's been in it 20 years, his own radio show, and well, hey, maybe we can get you out there getting some elk on his place.
Absolutely. If I do, we'll get together and share some. So I'm pretty good.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
Right.
I'd love it.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Well, I guess I appreciate you coming on, and Alex, we'll definitely talk again.
Yes, sir.
And if you do get elected, I like that idea, Jamie. Let's have him on and talk about a few things. I think that people need that.
Yes.
And I will say most of our reps in North Dakota have been good about being accessible. I've always been able to have access to Kevin. John's not real good at it, but the other two have been pretty good about it.
Kevin and Kelly are pretty good, yeah.
But that's what you need. And it always amazed the people when I'd travel back to D.C. when I worked for NRA all the time, how accessible that our senators and our reps were, because that isn't the usual out there from what I understand.
Right.
So.
But we should be. Yeah.
And you should
absolutely.
be, yeah. So, all right. Well, with that, we're going to sign off. I appreciate you coming on, Alex, and we look forward to another discussion again.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Yep. Thank you, Alex. Have a good weekend, buddy. We'll talk to you later.